All right. Next part for plumbing. An air break is an unobstructed vertical distance through the air separating food-related equipment from a waste or sewer pipe. The space must be twice the distance of the diameter of the discharge opening, or 1 inch, whichever is greater. An air break must be installed at each culinary or equipment sink. An air break is not required at hand wash sinks. Unidirectional check valves or equivalent devices are not acceptable for this purpose. Indirect sewer connections should be located within 2 feet of the equipment and the inlet side of the grease interceptor. This is intended to protect the equipment. Fixtures and equipment requiring indirect waste connections include 1. Food preparation and warewashing sinks. Next, refrigerators and freezers. Next, ice makers and storage bins. Next, steam tables and kettles. Next, dipper wells. All right. And looking at diagram 3, okay? A grease interceptor should be installed in the waste line leading from pot washing sinks, floor drains receiving waste from soup or stock kettles, food scrap sinks, scullery sinks, and the scraper section of commercial dishwashers to prevent grease from entering the drainage system. Interceptors should remove an average of at least 90% of the grease or other extractable matter in the wastewater and should conform to the requirements of the New York City Department of Environmental Protection Industrial Waste Control section. Okay. Last but not least, lesson 11, plumbing. All right, we're going to talk about grease interceptors. Grease interceptors shall be installed in waste lines which may receive grease from non-residential, direct, and indirect discharges, including but not limited to those leading from pot wash sinks, woks, soup or stock kettles, food scrap sinks, scullery sinks, meat and or poultry and or fish preparation sinks, floor drains, automatic dishwashers, scraper sinks, or other similar plumbing fixtures in all restaurants, kitchens, cafeterias, clubs, bars, butcher shops, slaughterhouses, fish markets, supermarket, food processing areas, delicatessens, or other non-residential establishments where grease may be introduced into the drainage system. Okay, fats, oils, and grease are prohibited, and I repeat, prohibited from being discharged into the public sewer in order to prevent obstruction of sewer pipes and sewer backups. Title 15, Rules of the City of New York, Chapter 19. Okay, so you can't just dump grease in a regular sink. All right, you get in trouble for causing potential backups. How grease interceptors work. This equipment works by separating the fats, oils, and grease from wastewater. Okay, greasy wastewater entering the interceptor passes through a vented flow control fitting that regulates the flow of the wastewater. The wastewater then passes over a series of separator baffles or regulating devices within the interceptor that separates out the fats, oils, and grease which float to the top of the interceptor and accumulate until manually removed. The wastewater continues to flow through the interceptor into a discharge pipe and then to the city sewer system. Okay, now, grease interceptors must be properly sized. Okay, just telling you what needs to happen. Sizing of grease interceptors shall comply with the criteria specified in Title 15 of the Rules of the City of New York, Code 1911, including applicable tables and or applicable tables 1 and or 2. Okay, grease interceptors must conform to PD 1G101, ASME 112, or ASME 14.3 or 14.4. It tells you what those letters mean. American Society of Mechanical Engineers. Okay, these are the standards published by the Plumbing and Drainage Institute and the American Society of Mechanical Engineers. Check for certification with such standards before purchasing the grease interceptor. Grease interceptor maintenance. Grease interceptors shall be properly installed, maintained, and operated to ensure that the requirements of this section and or applicable sections of the regulations are met. This shall include routine cleaning and grease removal from the interceptor as needed to ensure the proper operation of the interceptors. Okay, next, properly disposal of fats, oils, and grease. Okay, carters that pick up fats, oils, and grease may be found by various means. Also, a partial list can be found under fat grease and bone renderers at the following website, newyork.gov, business description grease, right there, website, interceptor information. Okay, next, our mention of this website does not constitute an endorsement of the services of any of the carters listed therein. If you find any outdated information or would like to suggest additional listings, please send an email as suggested on the website. Okay, any carter that picks up fats, oils, and grease from your establishment must, and I repeat, must have a trade waste removal license from the City of New York Business Integrity Commission. Okay, you must ensure that the carter has such a license. You may do so by checking the list of licensed carters online at this website here, w.com.newyorkcity.gov site permits and licensing page, or by calling the Business Integrity Commission at 311. All right, that concludes lesson 11 on plumbing.